In today's video, I want to share with you something you absolutely must know if it's your goal to live a long and healthy life and reverse the aging and damage that affects so many people. There is something called an Advanced Glycation End-product, AGE, and this is a compound that gets built up in your body from the foods that you eat. And AGEs are these sticky molecules of a sugar that's bound to either a protein and a fat. And what AGEs do is they go throughout your body, they inflame your circulation system, they damage all your key organs, and they make you age faster. And the greatest source of AGEs is the food that we eat. And AGEs are formed from high sugar foods. They're formed from animal proteins that are cooked at high heat. And when they get into our bodies, they make us age faster. And in fact, AGEs are actually counterbalanced by this idea of fasting. We've heard that fasting is really good for longevity, and what fasting does is when we're not in a fed state, our body's insulin levels are very low, the metabolic processes are not working on digestion, our body gets to work and increases something called autophagy, which means self-digestion. All of our cells are so busy doing all these different reactions to give us energy, when we give them a break from the constant food, they break down all these denatured proteins. Our body gets rid of all the damaged immune cells, and it basically takes out the garbage. And we know one of the greatest ways to live a long time is to be on a calorie-restricted, optimal nutrition diet. So lower in calories, high in these different micronutrients, a diet that's low in these AGEs, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more, about how to dial in your diet so you don't have as many high levels of that, but also a diet that has a lot of fasting. I want you to start fasting more. Now, whether that is a daily fast where you eat dinner a little earlier or breakfast a little bit later, or you do like our program members do and you do a 24-hour fast once a week, or maybe even these longer 3-day fasts that I've covered on this channel, you need to get your body into this autophagy process. You need to allow your body to break down a lot of these damaged proteins, because the converse of what everyone else is doing, constantly eating, constantly stimulating sugar and new amino acids to come in, constantly eating foods that are high in AGEs, and never giving the body a process to break down in catabolic metabolism. You've probably seen this symbol, the Yin and Yang symbol. This is a really good metaphor for how our bodies need to operate. The Yang, you could particularly say, is the food ingestion period. We need some amount of Yang. We need to get nutrients in. We need the energy. We need building blocks. But we also need this Yin, the relaxation, the ability to not eat, the ability to auto-digest. When you balance these two things out, and quite frankly, most of us need a lot more of this Yin, you can live a really long time. Now, to get into the advanced glycation end products, these are found in our foods, particularly when we cook carbohydrates and proteins at high heat. The highest form of AGEs are formed from when you take animal proteins, so really fatty ribeye steak or something like that, and you cook it on really high temperatures. The high temperature is one of the greatest things that increases AGEs. But what I found is very interesting is actually the way you actually cook those foods. Or if you have some vitamin C or other antioxidants into your meals, you can offset the effects of those AGEs. So that same ribeye that you may like, or that grass-fed steak you may like, if that meal comes with some blueberries or some vitamin C or some dark green leafy vegetables, and you actually help those in the cooking process, or you cook instead of dry heat, you cook with like moist heat, something like a sous vide or a slow cooker, far less AGE production. So I wish it was as simple as saying this food itself is healthy, that food's not. The cooking method also matters a lot with the AGE production. What increases AGEs is taking carbohydrate foods that are really cooked in high temperatures where they get caramelized. So we've all seen that the caramelization that happens when we toast bread, or we bake the heck out of a sweet potato and it's got that like really glaze on it. Let alone something like barbecue ribs where it's just like meat that's slathered in sugar then cooked on high temperatures. Those AGEs are those sticky damaging compounds that are going to age you faster. And when we look at some of the research of people who live the longest, these people who are living in the blue zones, who regularly live to 100 plus, most of them are eating lower animal protein plant-based diets. And I'm not saying you can't enjoy protein. Protein has a lot of good benefits, but make sure it's of the highest quality. Make sure it's also a part of a meal that has some of these good factors, these antioxidants in these fruits and vegetables that offset some of the AGE compounds. And of course, do more fasting. The more that you fast, the more you give your body the ability to really get rid of some of these buildup of compounds and metabolic waste. AGEs will age you. Fasting and autophagy will help heal you. These are all completely available to you right now, just based off of your choices and your understanding. So I hope this short video gave you a little bit of a kick in the butt to start to incorporate more fasting, to maybe cook some of your proteins at lower temperature, to increase your intake of fibrous vegetables and some of these good fruits that have these antioxidant properties that offset the damage of the AGEs. And if you want to learn more, there's going to be some links in the description to the scientific studies backing up every single thing I said. And you can also look at some of the lists of the highest foods that are rich in those AGEs that you want to really get rid of. So that's it, my friend. Fast more, eat lower heat proteins, and lots of fruits and vegetables, and you're going to live a longer time.